Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on my YouTube channel. Now for today's book review, we are going to be reviewing Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez. Now, I did not go into reading this book thinking it was going to have like the intense amount of emotional depth that it did. I have read two Abby Jimenez books before this. The first one was The Night We Met and Say You'll Remember Me, which is all part of the same series if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, and they both had they both had emotional depth to it, but it was nothing as intense as this one. So beautiful. I literally almost cried in the second to last chapter of this book. So this book follows Vanessa Price and Adrian Copeland. Vanessa Price is a famous YouTuber who does traveling vlogs. Basically, 5 years ago, she left her corporate job after her sister died of ALS, which is hereditary in her family, and she decided that she was going to just travel the world up until ALS would take her life, because nobody in her family basically none. Her mother died before she was 30 in a car crash. Her sister died of ALS before she was 30. So she just had a feeling, she's like, I'm probably not going to make it to 30. And then the book also follows the male main character, Adrian Copeland, who is a criminal defense attorney, and he's actually her neighbor, and we learn that he actually owns the building that she lives in. Basically, how they meet is she is actually fostering her sister's baby because her sister is 19 and had an accidental pregnancy, but has also had been in and out of rehab for many years, abuses drugs. She basically, after their sister died of ALS, she kind of just did not take it well and then started using drugs, and then eventually accidentally got pregnant, gave birth to the baby, and then just dropped the baby off at her house at Vanessa's apartment. Was like, hey, I'm gonna go run errands, and then never came back to pick up her baby. So she has basically been fostering the baby. And at the beginning of the book, we do kind of get the idea that, because she said that she is having struggles with her hands, and so she thinks that the ALS is already starting, the symptoms are starting, and that she thinks she only has about a year left to live. So basically, yeah, I should say how they met. So they met because his long distance girlfriend is visiting from Seattle for the weekend, and her bedroom wall butts up to his bedroom wall, and the baby is crying, and he can hear it through the walls, and his girlfriend is like, I would just like to sleep. And then she was like, if the baby isn't quiet, then I'll just have to go to a hotel because I really need to sleep. And he's like, I don't want to lose whatever precious time we have together. So he goes to talk to her about it, and she's like, there's nothing I can do, I've tried everything. And then he just sees her, and he sees that she's got throw up in her hair and all of that, and he just comes in, he's like, hey, why don't I watch the baby while you take a shower? So he does that, and he ends up learning the reason why the baby was crying, because he goes through his mind, he's like, okay, I'm trying stuff to try to hold the baby and stuff. And then he was like, what are some things that would annoy me and that would make me cry, that might be a comfy? And then he's like, what about a tag? But then he sees that she still has the baby, the onesie still has the tag on it, but the plastic little thing, the little plastic that holds the tag, that was still in there, so that was rubbing on the baby. And the minute he cut it off, the baby stopped crying. And so yeah, so basically they develop a friendship, and he probably doesn't think he'll see her beyond that, but then he ends up seeing her again when he hears some commotion outside his apartment door, and he sees that there are people that are trying to get into her apartment. She has the door open, she's bleeding a little bit from her head, and there's people we want to see the baby, and it turns out it's her sister, her father, and her brother, and she's like, no, I don't think this is good. So he just steps in, and he sees that she's bleeding and protects her. And then they develop a friendship. I think she needs somebody to watch the baby at one point, so he watches the baby. She brings over the little baby swing, and then he actually even bathes the baby. She comes back from whatever errand she was running, and goes into his apartment and sees that actually in his kitchen sink he's washing the baby and stuff. And eventually she gives him a key to her apartment, the key gives her a key to his, and they just kind of leave the doors unlocked, and they just walk in and out, and they develop a beautiful friendship that turns into a beautiful relationship. But then there is a third act breakup, basically because he like watched some of her. He didn't know who she was, by the way. He just knew her as his neighbor, and then she explained that she's like a travel YouTuber, and that she raises like a lot of that money goes to ALS charities because of her sister. So he knows that, but he hasn't watched all her videos, and he never watched the first video either that she ever posted. So he doesn't know that she thinks that she's dying from ALS, but she thinks he knows because she thinks that he may have at this point seen some of her videos and knows the story of her sister, and she's talked about her hand with him. So, and like losing strength in her hand. So she just thinks that he knows, but he doesn't until he reconnects with his he reconnects a relationship with his mother and his father, and goes to visit his mother, father, and grandmother for Christmas. And his mother says something to the effect of him like being brave or something about being in a relationship with her considering she's sick. And he's like, what? And then that's when he ends up watching her first video, and he's like, you didn't tell me? She's like, I thought you knew. And she's like, I think I only have like a year left. And he's like, wants her to do like go, and because she said that the only way you can get diagnosed with ALS, this is the book, by the way, I don't know if it's changed since the book has come out, but she said the only way that they actually diagnose you with ALS is ruling anything else that has similar symptoms. So like if you come in with a bunch of symptoms that mimic ALS, they will rule out anything else that has similar symptoms to ALS, and once they've ruled all of that out, then they'll say, oh, you most likely have ALS. So she does not want to actually go get diagnosed because she doesn't want like all the poking and prodding. And then he's like, well, why don't you go on like some different like trials, and maybe there's like medication. She's like, yeah, they'll like extend my life for maybe like 3 months, but they have so many side effects. So that's where they have a disagreement. And then he just kind of gives her like an ultimatum of like, like go for the trials or not. She doesn't want to do that. So they basically break up, and it's right before he was supposed to come to this like bed and breakfast that she rented for New Year's Eve. And then he just kind of breaks up with her. And then he immediately regrets it. He tries to go find her, but she, at that point, had left the bed and breakfast to go visit her sister, because she's like, if this is over, I'm going to go visit my sister. She visits her sister, has a whole conversation with her sister. Her sister's like, I don't want the baby. And she, at that point, had been debating putting the baby up for adoption and getting her sister's permission, because she's like, I know I'm not going to be around in a year. So she's like, a loving family needs to care for this baby. So basically, she talks to her sister. Her sister is like, she hopes that her sister might want to like get better and care for the baby, because she's in rehab. Her sister's like, I don't want to be a mother. So then she's like, you'd be okay with me putting up the baby up for adoption? And she was like, yes, I would. And then basically she decides after that, because her father is watching the baby back in the town that her and Adrian are from. So she basically decides, hey, like, I'm just gonna like not talk to anybody, and I'm just gonna spend the next year traveling the world. I don't want anybody to see me get worse with ALS, and I am just gonna completely leave. I'm just gonna completely leave, just travel the world. I'm gonna post one YouTube video. I'm gonna film a bunch of YouTube videos while I'm gone, and then I'll post them all after I pass, and all that money will go to ALS. So that's what she decides. And then the second to last chapter had so many like moments that were just like, that just would like made me almost cry. So basically, I'm not going to read you like the whole chapter, but I'll read you some key parts. Basically, her brother comes to her and because she's on a private island that her best friend, who's also a YouTuber, owns and is getting married at. And so her brother is on the island for the wedding as well, and her brother goes up to her and is like, Vanessa, oh my gosh, Chrissy Teigen just mentioned you on Twitter. So the tweet is, could someone please put this poor man out of his misery and tell him where to find Vanessa Price? So then it goes to like a news video, and it goes, Adrian Copeland is on a worldwide quest to find the woman who got away, and chances are you know who she is. For weeks, famous YouTuber Vanessa Price had been teasing her viewers with stories of a handsome, mysterious love interest. We know this man is a prestigious St. Paul attorney who won't stop until he finds her. Price is known for her passionate pursuit for a cure for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also known as ALS, the disease that inspired the Ice Bucket Challenge of 2014. It says she lost her sister to the illness, and basically, according to Copeland, they had a disagreement about her choosing not to seek treatment, and the couple broke up. I made a horrible mistake, and I lost the love of my life. Copeland sent a viral video he made 3 weeks ago pleading for information on her whereabouts. Copeland, who was in the process of adopting Price's infant niece. So Grace is her sister's daughter that she had been fostering, and he is in the process of adopting her. It's literally so beautiful, and it goes, is in the process of adopting Price's infant niece. Said he struggled with a lifelong fear of flying and had to spend a month in intensive therapy to overcome his phobia and deal with the feelings about Price's potential diagnosis. He since followed leads all over the globe, baby in tow, in his attempt to locate Price, who has gone underground. We can't say if she knows he's looking, but Copeland has made one thing very clear. I'll never stop looking, and when I find her, I'm spending the rest of her life letting her know how much I love her. Like, oh my gosh. So then she sees that, and her brother's like, how the F did you not know about this until now? And she's like, I have been off social media. My phone has been off. And then she's like, I need to call him, but I don't remember his number. So then she goes to call him on her brother's phone, but then she hears her name, Vanessa. She keeps hearing it. And then there's somebody approaching. And then her videographer, like, turns and stops filming. And then she looks, and all of a sudden, it's Adrian. And then she's like, wait, what are you doing here? How did you find me? And he's like, I knew you'd be here. You wouldn't miss Drake's wedding. I knew I only had one shot at knowing exactly where you were, Vanessa. I'm so sorry I was wrong. I was wrong to ask you what I did. I had no right. And then she was like, you were just being honest about what you need. And he was like, fuck what I need. I should have kept you still. It was my job to keep you still. I worked really hard to deal with the things inside of me that made it difficult to be strong for you. That was my own shit, and I had to work through that. I'm sorry. He goes, I love you. I never said it, and I should have said it every fucking day. I love you. And she's like, you got on a plane, because again, he has a phobia of flying. And he goes, I got on dozens of planes. I quit my job. I woke up every day with no idea where I was going or what I was doing. I didn't even know whether you'd talk to me if I found you. And then she goes, you adopted Grace? And he goes, I went to get her from Gerald the day you had him clear your apartment, which Gerald, by the way, is her father. She goes, you did? He goes, he gave me a long speech about how I should let you go, then made a dramatic exit, and I didn't even let him get down the hallway before I went after him and told him I'd never give up on you, and I wanted my daughter back. He said he wanted to see if I'd fight to keep my family together, and I must have passed his test. The way he references Grace as his daughter, I was just literally like swooning. And literally after this chapter, the epilogue was left, and so I had assumed that she was, like, the epilogue was gonna be them having their, like, happily ever after for, like, a year until she died. But it turns out she didn't have early onset symptoms of ALS. Well, it's still hereditary, and it still could come at any moment. It turns out she had, like, a cyst, or maybe a benign cyst or something. She had a cyst in her hand, and that's why, like, she was having issues and losing strength in her hands. But yeah, literally after reading that chapter, and I had a feeling that she was gonna, like, I was like, oh, is she gonna die in the epilogue? I was like, no, please no. I was literally gonna cry, and then I read the epilogue, and I was like, okay, they have a beautiful happy ever after. So yeah, this book was 5 stars, one of my top reads of the week, and it was definitely one of my top 5 reads of the month. So yeah, I know this was a bit of a longer video, but I just had to for this book. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss another brand new video from me. You can also follow me at RomanceBLVD on Instagram and Threads, and at Romance Boulevard on TikTok. Until the next one, bye!